Elin Mai. Communication is all about connection, ideas, people, and listening. But how do we do this connecting? It's through conversation. Join me today as I have a conversation about the human awakening and adapting and evolving. I'm Elin Mai, and I'm a coach and CEO, and today I have the amazing Mohmed with me. I met Mohmed by sheer chance, and I immediately knew that after talking to him, others needed to hear his story as well. So welcome Mohmed Elbadi Gadir to the podcast. He's a Fulani semi-nomad Sufi follower in the wilderness of the Great Sahara deserts, born in 1972 in Guildford in Surrey. He spent 21 years of his life in a desert village in the Sudan, 15 years in Abu Dhabi, and 15 years in the UK. Now, I'm going to have to begin by saying it's a shame that this is a podcast, but hopefully some people will be watching it because I think, it's a feast for the eyes. I think that there's not many people that can kind of outshine me in the style stakes, I've got to say, but you're definitely one of them. Welcome to today's podcast. So can we start off perhaps by finding out how a Sudanese nomad was born in Guildford in the UK, of all places?
Hello, Ellen, and thank you for interviewing me in your show. And I'm very happy. It's my first time, so excuse a little bit of shyness. Yeah, I will. Thank you for asking the questions. Actually, how I started is by sheer coincidence. My father has been chosen by the government of Sudan to go to UK to do some kind of 2 years course in civil engineering to start building the infrastructure, roads and airports and so forth. So it happened that he went over to England, Guildford. He started in Guildford and then went to so many cities. And by sheer coincidence, I was born in. My mother was with him, and sheer coincidence, I was born all of a sudden in Guildford, St. Luke's Hospital. Yeah, Friday at 8:00 in the morning. So straight from the nomads, from the deserts, from Africa to Great Britain, Guildford, Surrey, and things started from there. I think my umbilical cord is buried in in the Queensland.
Is it really? Okay.
That's why I always go back to the mother queen.
So tell me about these, you've got such an interesting journey and I almost don't know where to begin. So I guess that at the beginning is the best place to begin because you've had 15 years in the UK, would you say boy and young man, and then 15 years in Abu Dhabi and then 21 years in the Sudan. So a very different place, I guess, all of those three. So tell me about your kind of early life then to what led you to become the person you are today.
Well, at the beginning, in England, I spent about 2 years in England. So at that age, I cannot remember much, but from the photos, I had the shock of my life because all my photos, my eyes were big open, to the walls. So I think I was shocked as well when I was a baby. So this is the feelings that I had from the photos. Yeah.
Did you have a happy childhood?
Yes. Yeah. It's in the I can't remember in the first 2 years of my life in England, but it seems like everything was a shock. And my mother and father trying to calm me down. But then I remember when we moved to Sudan, then at the age of 3 years, 4 years, then I have few memories. I can remember things. And all I can remember is scorpions, snakes, the desert.
Very, very much like Guildford, then.
Totally. So you are safety, security in England, and all of a sudden you are in the middle of snakes, scorpions, sand, mosquitoes, this, trying to survive, you know.
So that adapting to different environments was in you from a very young age then.
Exactly, yes, yeah. And it just carried on forward. All my life is just an adventure, trying to survive, not to die, and not to get sick, not to get a disease or what. And
So paint me a picture then of, we say, a community in the Sudan, but what was daily life like for you growing up there?
well, as far as I can remember, it was kind of a British life, because we were just out of the British Empire, and the remaining of it, yeah. So on the 70s, and you can see the people they're trying to keep as much as possible from what they had, the British Empire and the wealth and the etiquette and all that. But at the same time, they cannot keep up. They cannot continue what they had before. So the golden age was on the 60s. That's what people say. The golden age was the 60s, the 50s and the 60s. And then from there off, it started to deteriorate, yeah, until we reach civil war in Sudan nowadays, yeah. So this is the image I had, the general idea. And then you can build on it, you can see people with suits, women with mini jib and skirts, short skirts over the knee, below the knee, and the hairstyle and the cut dresses. Very open society. At a contrast, nowadays it's a very different society, yeah, which is totally changed, yeah. So this is the early images I had. Plus, of course, once you go out of the city, which is a small-scale city, you get the desert, and then you get the safari and the wild animal and
So
Africa, proper Africa.
Oh, proper Africa, I like that.
Yeah.
What about your schooling then? Were you a hard worker?
At that time, we have part of our custom is they bring elder children in at home, so you learn the language. Because Arabic is not my mother tongue, my grandfather and the elder generation, because they are Fulani from Mali, Burkina Faso, Timbuktu, West Africa, they speak a different language, and even Arabic is in a different dialect coming from west of Sudan, because actually we come from west of Sudan, an area called Ubaid, but we live in the capital, yeah, because of work and so forth. So they bring the young children from our region so they can teach us slowly how to put the Arabic words together, yeah, and make sense out of it.
And was that a concept of trying to adapt then to a new world?
Yes, because the whole existence, I think, of the family and the whole tribe over the last 300, 400 years in Sudan, they still adapting to the environment of Sudan, with the ever-changing situation as well, and the governing as well of Sudan. So it was part of adapting on at that age, at that time.
What were your aspirations as a child then?
Well, it's just when you live in the desert, it's you see freedom,
Yeah.
and outskirts. the vision, what you see, it's very far. So when you have this distance on another on a contrast in a city, you are blocked with buildings. So this is now I can say is this vision of seeing very far and then close to nature. The cows and the camels and the goats and the river and the desert as well. It has got a special feeling that when you see this outskirts desert just free and empty along to the rivers as well. So this contrast really brings some serene, just you relax. Yeah.
But you told me as well that you've always felt like a bit of an explorer or an adventurer.
Yes, because in the desert you always want to see what is beyond that emptiness.
Okay.
So you always try to find, okay, this is empty. What is beyond that emptiness? Okay, this river, where it ends, where it begins. This kind of question you start asking. And from this simple question, then you start asking yourself, who am I? It builds up to more complicated question, which is psychology, sociology, philosophy. Who am I? What do I want? And I realized that later in life, after 20 years or 30 years. But this is the small, basic questions, simple questions that really triggered my thoughts.
Okay. So the awakening.
The awakening,
part.
yeah. I had it from a young age. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
And then fast forward then to when you were ready to go to university. So back to the UK then. To Leeds, of all places.
What happened between Sudan and Leeds, which really generated this feeling of I want to go back to the motherland. And the Queen Mother, as I say. My mother likes the Queen, actually, so that's why we say the Queen Mother. God bless her soul. I spent 15 years in Abu Dhabi, and the same thing. We moved from the desert in 1977 of Sudan to the desert of Abu Dhabi. At that time, it was beginning with.
So it's not the Abu Dhabi everyone knows today, not the tall buildings and the glossy facades.
It was the starting point, yeah, actually. It was the starting point and the seeds of what happened, what it become now. And it was a special invitation from Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, the president of the United Emirates in 1971. So they just united, and they started to building up the country and bringing the minds and people to help, plus the local people. So everybody, expatriates and locals, helped on this.
So your whole family moved at that point from the Sudan to Abu Dhabi?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So,
how many of you were there at that point?
One person, that's me. It's
just you,
father,
okay.
mother, and one son, yeah.
Okay.
And then life started over from there on. We started watching the building and the growing up of the whole country. With me as well growing up, so you watch it day by day, month by month, year by year, from elementary school to preparatory school to secondary school. And it was thank God it was in the beginning, because in the beginning you get all the best, the honey, all the best things in the beginning. So we've been, there was the American lifestyle, the British lifestyle, the Asian lifestyle, the local lifestyle in United Arab Emirates. So this opened my mind to all these different lifestyles. And then it put an urge inside me that, okay, let me discover, now I know Africa, I know kind of Asia. Let me discover the missing point, which is Europe. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Leeds came into the existence. Yeah.
So that adaptation from the deserts of Sudan to Abu Dhabi, was that a huge transition, would you say, or was it a little bit more gradual?
It was a very huge transition because the pace United Arab Emirates was going was very fast. To a person like me who was coming from a desert, used to the railway of Great Britain, which stayed there for over 100 years, and people stay in their job for 50 years, grandfather and working in the railway, and then my father generations and all. So the pace in Sudan was very slow. And then all of a sudden you go to a new, a different continent, a different country, where the pace is very fast. And this is the first thing I realized, the pace, the speed of time is just caught me by surprise and triggered my quest for knowing and wanting to see further how this will develop. I think that's the main
And then
issue.
to Leeds to study pure maths.
Yes, exactly.
But you told me a story about the language, that you thought that you'd mastered English and then you came to Leeds and that you thought it was a whole other language.
So when I got used to this fast paced in the Middle East, in United Arab Emirates, in Asia and all that, I thought that's it, no more, no further. Things will be closer, as much as close to each other and maybe similar and all that. So when I went to UK, it was a different kind of pace again. It was European Western pace, which is even more faster than what I used to. So I was like, I'm still running, catching up on the. So I was like, it's more running now and more hard work and more learning. And so the first thing I've noticed, the fast rate, the speed of life, but then the language. And I spent 12 years, almost 12 years, learning English in the academic, the schooling. And then all of a sudden I say, oh, this English is waste of time. There's a different kind of English. And you have the Southern English in Surrey, you have the London English, the Cockney, and then you have the Northern English, Yorkshire and all that. And how they use the word love, hello love, how are you love? I said, but we didn't take love as this, it's not in this sentence. This is my feelings, this is the background for what I've learned. Yeah. But then I understood that it's a different culture, a different way of life, different tradition, and the use of words is different. So it's a culture. Then the meaning of culture came into my understanding. Okay, so you have Africa, they have cultures, and then inside different cultures. Asia, you have a culture, but then inside you have different cultures. And Europe, you have cultures, and inside you have. And even in Britain, Great Britain, you have different sects. You have English, you have Welsh, you have Scottish, and each one has got a different culture. And inside them, you have cities and towns and villages. So cultures into cultures into cultures, down to clans, or what we call tribes. And then this opened my mind to something more further down into philosophy, geography, history, and psychology.
So you're incredibly interested in that history, aren't you? And not just your history, everyone's history as well.
Exactly. Yeah. It's because when I was born, I had difficulties with the vocabs words, how to put my thoughts into words. And actually, it's ADHD. I found recently, as my children have some of it, not all of it. But and now I understood my case, and I said, "Oh, okay." So I used to have problems with vocabs, and I found a solution for it in a way, by memorizing, by the copy paste people, the Indian society, the Pakistani, the English, the American, until I found my own way. So putting things together took time until I managed to understand that, okay, this means culture, this means history, because I don't have prospects as well of how this human science. I didn't have the feeling of human science. Because of my ADHD, I always stick with pure maths. I never ventured into, although I like history, but I don't have the skills
Mm-hmm.
of language in Arabic or English, and the skills of philosophy, logic, and geography, history, to venture into this human science. So I kept him my safe ground because my father is paying money. I don't want him to lose his money and me failing as well, my studies. So I kept in the safe ground, which is pure math, 1 + 1 = 2. And I kept at it and took my degrees and followed on my careers. But I always had this strange love to human science and people in general, because this is my lacking, because of my situation, ADHD, and what I've been born with. I have problems with interacting with people, communication. Yeah, that's the word, communication. And I just kept at it until, and people were just interesting for me. But the very interesting thing to me, how to talk to them, how to interact, how to communicate with them. So I've been trying to solve this issue for all my life until now.
Okay. Well, I would say that you're very good at communicating now, aren't you? You're very open and you're very happy to kind of tell your story. When it came to adaptation then as well, back when you were living in the UK, when we talked, you talked about adapting your style even wherever you were. Now that, me coming from a style background, was incredibly interesting because the way we dress has such an impact on how others perceive us, isn't it? And
Exactly.
how involved and how settled we feel somewhere if we feel like someone else, you know? So how did your style evolve through all these periods?
Oh, that's a good question. Because once I managed to break the barriers from pure math, as you say, to history, then this opened a window to other things. It's not only history. Dates and things happened on these dates. It's to do with culture. And culture, when I went dig deep on culture, uh, the first thing comes to my mind when I talk about culture is woman. And woman is the holder of the culture everywhere. Woman is the first thing that holds the culture with the clothes, with the food, with the music, and upbringing of the children. And even the concept of woman, for me, then when I dig deep on this subject, woman has got four different ways of looking at a woman, or four, what do you call it, levels of looking at a woman. You look at a woman as a human being, and then you look at a woman as a half of the society and bringing up the other half. And then you look at a woman as a mother, or sister, an aunt, which is an ethical way, which gives you ethics. And the fourth thing, you look at a woman as a wife, which is an etiquette and a beauty thing. Yeah. So you imagine woman has got four levels of looking at it. Man is just a provider.
Okay, fine. You heard it here first, yeah?
Yeah, just a provider. I cannot see anything more for a man than a provider. And now woman provides, so man has got nothing actually in
Okay.
the nowadays, this age. But me coming from a matriarchal society, later on I understood that I come from a matriarchal society as a Fulani tribe from West Africa. I have 90% genes from Africa, 10% from South India, Dravidians, and some percentage as well of North Germany, Hanover. It's called Hanover area, the Vandals. So the word vandalism is actually people
Okay.
vandals.
Uh-huh.
So this mix of African, Indian, Asian, and European, when you understand that you have this mix inside you, then you start looking at things differently. and you dig deep on. So you start with cultures, and then okay, cultures is woman and
But everyone
clothes.
doesn't dig deep, do they? Because you said to me on the lift on the way up, I said, if you went back to your village now in the Sudan, what would they make of you?
Yeah, they say this is a strange person who dress up strangely and his food, eating things strangely as well. He's like Chinese, he like snakes, and the music he listen to is very strange because I listen to folk music, traditional music in Asia, Africa, or Europe. Uh, but because they didn't have the urge, I think they are very comfortable in their comfort zone and they didn't want to go out of the box.
Mm.
I think that's the main, they don't want to face their fear. That's the best way I can put it. And
So at 27, then you really faced your fear.
yes, at the age of 27, this is when I really, as they say, come out of the closet and started trying to understand the philosophy. You know, because you have in the West, you have a certain philosophy, in the East, you have certain philosophy. But in this center area, which is the Middle East and North Africa, I had to dig deep to find the kind of philosophy so I can understand others on the same level. Yeah.
So at 27, then, and you're the oldest child, aren't you? Of how
Yeah.
many?
4.
4,
Yeah.
yeah. In
2
your
boys and 2 children, 2 girls. Yeah.
in your culture, then, does that being the eldest child come with a huge responsibility? Because tell me what happened.
Well, it has got a story, yeah, because I felt I have a mission from an early age, born in the 70s, which is called Generation X. So I'm between my father generation, which is in the 40s, is called Generation Silent Generation. My mother is called Baby Boomer, and I'm in the middle, Generation X, and I have my brothers and sisters, maybe Millennium Generation. And then my sons, they are Generation Z plus Dragon Ball Z. I watch a lot of cartoon with them as well. Dragon Ball Z generation, yeah. So I'm exactly in the middle, and my job is to filter what I get from the past and then build to the future. Uh, Later on, I understand this job that God created me to do this certain job to give freedom to my children or Generation Z. I didn't want them to go back to the past or live the present. I always wanted them to live the future and be free. Yeah, because I was not free, so I was always looking for freedom, and it's because of the desert. You know, in the desert you seek freedom. So all my life I've been seeking freedom. So this quest of freedom made me do the job of 3 generations: my father generation, my generation, and the next generation, which is baby boomers and maybe Generation X and the Millennium Generation. And thank God, I think I kind of done my best, yeah, because I gave freedom to my children or generations in general. So that's my
So
take on
you left the UK
it.
at that point, went back to Sudan, left wife number 1 in the UK, back to Sudan. Again, another huge change in adaptation then as well.
Yes, yeah. So that was an obligation, actually. Yeah. First of all, I had to retreat. I didn't leave my wife. I was left abrupt, but I had to explain to her that I have a job to do, and it's not. I want to do it because it will give freedom to the next generation, and my brothers and sisters, they cannot do it. I'm the eldest. This is my job on this life, and I don't. It's not just to bring you with me because you're going to face a lot of issues. Yeah, so it's you stay where you are, your culture, continue with your life. Okay, we'll be sad, but it's going to be safe security for you, safer for you, and secure for you to stick with your family. I'm going to face a lot of issues, and I'm not going with it. I'm not going. I don't know whether I'm going to survive or not. So it's kamikaze.
Okay.
Kamikaze, Japanese kamikaze. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I want to do it. Yeah, I want to do it because my existence depends on this, to be or not to be. This is just, it's either die or do it. Yeah, I don't have any choice. I cannot bring you with me because this is very dangerous. I don't know what is the consequences. So I had to go back and live the experience. Yeah.
And what was that experience like after living in the UK, in the north of England, going back to Sudan? As a person that had a degree, a person that had kind of, you told me that you used to wear, kind of American style sports clothing and things. How did you go back and adapt?
Well, the first word that comes into my mind, catastrophe.
Okay, wow, okay.
In a good way.
Okay,
In a good
yeah.
way. Yes, it involved a lot of the. I didn't think that it's going to involve that much of patient, persistent, perseverance, and time as well. 21 years actually. Yeah. So it took a lot of my from my time, yeah, and from my health and. From my thinking, thank God, not in a bad way, but yeah, you have to. I've been faced with a lot of issues. Yeah, it's you're going back in time. So from Africa to Asia to Europe, we're supposed to go to America. That's the trend. But for me, I broke it. I broke the trend, and I came back to Africa again, and in time, as if I moved 300 years back in the past. And this needed adaptation again. So I started adapting to a different culture, meaning, okay, the tradition, the how do you deal with women, the food, the clothing, the music, and acceptance. People, how I accepted the people, but people not necessarily accepting you unless you change, become a stereotype, become like them. They don't accept you as you.
How much of Mohammed were you able to hold on to at that point? Stay true to yourself?
Yeah, well, I managed to keep 50%, 50-50, and that got me into a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble, yeah. But I managed to keep 50 at least, some of it, the shorts, the swimming in certain areas with the swimming trunk very short, very appealing, and which is against the culture as well. And mainly the dress was very shocking to people, the way I dress up, and not necessarily only the trousers or the what do you call it, the traditional clothes. And then the type of food I had to give it up. So no pizza, no McDonald's at all, and I had to adapt to the local food, which is okay. Yeah. But the most difficult thing is the conversation, people, how to click, how to touch the buttons for people to open up for you. And this is needed 21 years to master.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to give, and sometimes you give up, retreat, and surrender, and sometimes you hold your ground and made a point. Yeah. So you have to
Because
be
you'd
careful.
become quite an open person by then and an open book.
Exactly. At the age of 27, I'm myself. I can. You cannot change me. I will not change. But I had to adapt, and with a little bit of agility, and be with some openness and with the right people to help me, because not knowing the culture, I needed people who have heart for me to explain to me the bits and pieces, the secrets of the culture actually, and then I can adapt. Yeah, but after some explanation. So thank God I got married for the third time in there, and they became my what do you call it? My house, my castle. I depend on them a lot, asking question what happened, this and but things changed when I got the children. The children automatically got the culture, and then they started telling me in a kindergarten way. So I started KG1 with them, and this is by the best part. With the children they came late a little bit, but with the children I started KG1, KG2 again. Yeah, then elementary, preparatory with the children at a very slow pace. They teach me, and I learn from them. Yeah, I listen as well to them a lot. Yeah,
So the children were born in Sudan.
yes, both of them in Sudan, in the desert, not in the
Okay.
capital city. Yes, yeah, and a very semi-nomad life with proper desert people kind of tradition and culture. Yeah.
And now, again, so civil war, again in Sudan, April last year,
Yes,
you escaped and came to Saudi
yes,
with the children.
true.
How did that adaptation come about? Again, I can't begin to imagine.
It's quite interesting, actually, because I did something like an experiment with the children. I agreed with my wife. I said, okay, these children will be desert people, nomad, okay, full stop. I like that because this is what I'm missing: tradition, culture, and this is what I lack in Asia and Europe. So I'll start with that, with what I'm missing first. Good enough. And they will learn it from the air they breathe, from the food they eat, with the people, with the community in the village. Easily done, no problem. That's which is the hardest thing. Easily done, finished. Now we're going to think how we're going to put them in the first world, as if they are living in Europe or America. So
Just like that as well.
No, not just not like that. No, just, it took
But I
took
mean,
time.
the transition from when you had to leave the Sudan when civil war came about, you had to flee quite quickly.
Yeah, the transition was just like that. But before the transition, there were about 13 years of preparation.
Okay.
And that people don't know about. What happened is I sent those children to the capital city to an English school, where they learn English, a little bit of French, and some Swahili. And this is one side, languages. And the other side is skills, or we try to find what they are good at. So we tried sports, music, art, and good enough because we start. My wife is a volleyball captain. So she's a very sporty lady and from a sporty family. We found a shop called Chico. It's an Italian shop that sells toys according to the age. Same thing, Lego. Toys according to the age. And with the sporty family, my wife and her family, we started introducing sports. We found that they are not good in art, they are not good in music, but sports, they have skills on their hands and on their legs. We discovered football, and then after that, basketball, and then swimming, and karate, and other stuff, yeah, ping pong, tennis, and all that. With the help of the school, the foreign language school that we send them to, they have coaches. So during school time and during summer holidays, we put them onto these summer camps, and that helped a lot actually. So the languages and the summer camps, finding what they are good at for them sport, and we use the summer camps. That's why I put a lot of stress now on languages and summer camps. Yeah.
So were you essentially trying to ensure that they have that grounding that's so important to you, that they're, children of the deserts, but that they've got the skills and the access to everything else that they might need living and moving from one country to the next?
Exactly. So I was preparing them to move to US, UK, or developed places in Asia. Just like that, yeah. So I was preparing for the moment, for the chance. Once the chance is available, it's just a matter of a click. But it took time, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
And it happened, and expectation was my preparation was good, and when the chance happened, I just took everything was ready actually. Yeah. And when they went over there, I think the first thing they've noticed is how beautiful it is in Jeddah, and the roads are big, and it's safety security. That's what the parents say, but what they see is clean, big roads, big buildings, everything is organized, Um,
Have they got those wide eyes that you talked about that you saw? Yeah.
Yes. When they saw the architecture, yeah, the buildings and the roads, and yeah, it's something to take a picture for, just to show you their eyes and how big they were open, and they say, "Oh, far up, look at the." Yeah, the infrastructure is so amazing, yeah, and the reflection there.
So you're trying to instill your learning in them. But from what I know of you, from the conversations that we've had, you're constantly learning yourself as well. And that need for learning is something that, you've almost got an obsession with.
Uh, this is a good question. What happened is when I went back to Africa, I was learning with my wife, but she already a grown-up woman. But when we had children, this is the real fun starting. So I started learning with each child. So with the first child, I started learning 13 years, and then with the second child, I started learning 10 years. So with each child, I learn as if I'm him. So imagine you have three life circles with the wife to some extent, but really two life circles with each child. And I'm living with each child as if I'm a child with him. So imagine you repeat your life reincarnation. So I'm reincarnated in the first child, reincarnated in the second child, and then reincarnated as my wife to understand the female as well aspect of life. And this is fun to be able to reincarnate in several people while you are existing. Well, it's a very Sufi way of explaining things.
Is it really?
Yeah, philosophical, yeah. To be able to live while you are living, to be able to live in different persons. Yeah, I cannot explain it, but
you're explaining it very well.
Yeah.
But is that something that perhaps anyone could adopt? Do you think it makes you a full person? Because when I'm listening to you say it now, I'm imagining that if I tried to do the same, number one, I'd find it confusing.
Yes.
I'd need a different outfit for each personality. But I'm not sure if I would call myself an open person, but I'm not sure I have the capability to do that as well. But how are you that open, I guess my question is.
I think the best way to do it is to be a clown in a circus.
Okay,
That's
fine.
the best. Yeah, that's comedy out of tragedy. Yeah, so I'm a clown on a circus. So you see me wearing this outfit, I fit in with the conservative people. Then you see me with the shorts and t-shirt, I fit in with the little bit younger generation. Then you see me with a trunk, short trunk, very tight, I fit in with the children as well. So I just a clown, not serious. Don't take life seriously. Just laugh about it, have a laugh, and enjoy the journey. Just clown on the circuits and make fun out of it. Make fun of yourself as well. And this comes down to facing the fear of the inside fear of mine, and break the barriers and trying to coming out of the closet as well. Yeah. So it's all play a part of that. But at the end, you just become like a clown or a circus or a crazy man in a hospital. That's the best description for it. Yeah.
But to me, what kind of stands out is, you've come from a country that's been in civil war for the majority of your lifetime. And you're describing yourself as a clown. Being able to look at the lighter side of life.
Yeah.
How does someone like you stay positive and, I guess, have that childlike wonderment throughout all that difficulty?
I didn't understand. I had the same issue. I didn't understand myself clearly or this philosophy clearly. But then when I faced death in the Civil War, because I was there the first day of when the Civil War started on Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning. We were coming from the village. We stayed in the city, trying to buy clothes for Eid, ending of Ramadan. And the first bullet started, and after that, heavy artillery. And we spent 5 days in the middle of the heavy shelling. So once you have this feeling of facing death face to face, and my wife is there, the children with me. I tell a story. I said on the fifth day we ran out of. We didn't have much to eat on the city. It was my mother's house, and we had crumbs of breads and water, and almost finishing. No electricity, no water, little bit of telecommunication. The fifth day, my wife at 6 o'clock in the morning opened the door and went outside running, trying to find transport to take us back to the village, which is 50 kilometers away from the capital city. I was running after my wife, and the children are running after me. So the wife in front, I'm in the middle, the children are at the back. At that time, when I faced this, I see the militia, people with weapons, some dead people, cars are in the middle of the street and all that. And I was thinking at myself, okay, the first shot, my wife will take the first shot. The children, they will go to children's house with no parents. Me, with little money I have, I will go to Thailand and enjoy myself.
Okay, I was not expecting that. Yeah? You're on a beach in Thailand living it up. So it was in that moment,
yeah,
almost like a comedy came to your head.
like, when you face that, then you start really comedy comes out of you, because that's it. It's death and nothing to say. What? That's it. You're going. So might as well go laughing.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah. So when you live that moment, then you understand life. There's no other way that you understand life in a different way. Once you face death, you face your time. Civil war, cancer, fatal disease, losing your money, something catastrophic, it comes into your life. And once you see death face to face, then it comes to the reality and the understanding that life is nothing, it's a better joke about it, just a black comedy. British black comedy.
British. But that was a year ago.
Yeah.
Just over a year ago.
Yeah.
And now you're in the UAE.
Yeah.
Do you look back now and reflect on that? And does it feel like a different person and a different life? Or is it just all part of your journey?
Well, this is what I'm doing now is looking back. What I'm doing now with you on the conversation, and you remind me of what happened. But when I am out of this setting, I don't look back. Always the front, the future, yeah. But people like you and people who are interested in these stories, I start telling the story and then I start remembering as well, yeah. And it's good for me because I quest, because I have some kind of post-trauma syndrome. It helps me relax. For young generation, they can forget easily, but for my age, it will need time, 5 years, 10 years, or more or less, yeah. And this talking, this communication, this conversation helps me to release, to quest, and to relax my memory a little bit, yeah, and just to feel at peace with myself, yeah. I will never forget it, but at least this peaceful feeling will be my goal all my life through this kind of conversation, yeah. But out of this conversation, I don't remember it, yeah. Always in the front, always looking forward to go to Thailand.
Of course, that beach, yeah.
Send the wife somewhere, send the children somewhere, and I go to, with little money I have, I go to Thailand still. Thailand is there.
So, where is your heart?
The hat.
Heart. Where's your heart?
Heart, okay. Heart is a free spirit, I believe, after all this, what happened to me, It's live and let live. Let the pressure out, laugh about it, have a little bit of laugh. So let the pressure out, live and let live, let go, move on. I mean, this is the four I go by. Yeah. And don't take things serious. Yeah. Give freedom to the children, give freedom to the wife, give freedom to the husband, to the mother, to the brothers, to the sisters, whatever the family is, people at work. Try to make it easy on yourself and easy on people, yeah. And take out the masks. Yeah. No need to put too much mask. Mr. So and so, Doctor so and so, engineer. So, okay, this is for the social status. I believe is good, yeah. But as much as possible, if you try to take out the mask and go towards simplicity and minimalism, this philosophical word, you ease up for yourself. Mainly, you ease up on your health and on your time, and what money you have, you save a lot. And people will be happy as well. You relax them. You don't challenge them too much. Don't challenge people. Let them be whatever they want to be. You know yourself. So uh,
What's the future for Mohammed then?
Oh, the future stylist.
Well, absolutely.
Now I've been introduced to this new venue. So when you think about it, how what I accumulated through the years, from culture to woman, kind of understanding, and the clothing and the food and the music. So most probably it's the styling part of it. Yeah. Academically, I went to from telecommunication to logistics, and maybe logistics with the new in the future infrastructure and all that, especially in the Middle East, in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. But this is academic, yeah, which I don't enjoy it much. But this is my work. I've been doing it for 30 years. But my hobby and my love, of course, styling. Yeah, styling. And I try to put this styling everywhere I do in my life, yeah, even at my work, yeah. It makes me happy, and I don't know what it will do to other people, but anyway, it makes me happy.
So, on that note, then, what legacy would you like to leave?
Oh, well, I always want to be known as, or when I go to the force upstairs, as the Star Wars says.
Yeah.
I want the Force to say, "Oh, good boy, you've done your best. You gave it a good try. Well done." So that's all. I will do my best, and that's it. That's the best I can say.
So you told me something really interesting as well. You said to me, if you had your life all over again, you wouldn't change a thing. I don't think a lot of people could say the same thing. I mean, I certainly couldn't. And I feel like I've lived an amazing life. But you said that you wouldn't change a thing. Why?
Well, exactly. I will never change anything, because good things come from hardship. Through the experience, through life, the path of life, you have these failures, and you have these cries, and you have these agonies, which is really, it is what makes you you. So in order to smell the incense, you have to burn it. And in order to see the gold, you have to scratch it. They call it touchstone. So for a human being to be himself, or to find himself, who am I and what do I want, to answer these questions, he has to go through hardship, cries, failures. Success will not teach you, but failures and cries and agonies and tragedies within the families, at work, through your life, this will make you you. This will give you depth, and this depth will give you the chi, the awakening. You call it the chakra, or the chi, yin and yang, or the chi, whatever you call it. Born again, Jesus Christ, Muslim, Allah, whatever you want to call it, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever ism you believe in. It's this ism, yeah. And that's the goal of, I think, mankind, is to get this ism somewhere. And it's a thousands way, hundreds of thousands of rivers that fall into the same ocean. You pick up what is unique to you, and you just be good at it. Yeah, this is very important to know.
So for anyone listening, whatever they believe in, whoever they believe in, maybe they don't believe in anyone.
Be good at not believing in anyone. Even
Yeah,
that.
even that.
Even if you don't believe in anyone, be good at not believing in anyone, because this is 50% of the path. The 50% of the path is not believing. And then you start finding kind of an existence.
And you said something to me that I really liked as well, that you said that how you look at things is not linear at all, that it's like a wave.
Yeah, it's first of all, it gives you a kind of relaxation. It means no ending, because you use these words of biology. You die. No, we're not. I don't like to use this. It's scary a little bit, horror films. I don't watch horror. I watch Bollywood. I was happy. We get married in flowers and this. All infinity.
It's all dancing.
All dancing, infinity. Everybody's happy. That's it. So this is when you look at it in linear way. Then you start getting negative energy. But it's always good, that's what I've learned, to look at it as circular or wave. Even in something in the Western philosophy, in materialism, it's called dialectic materialism. Hegel philosophy, he looks at things as a spiral. So a spiral up and up and up, yeah. So that's the way he explained it. But when you flip the spiral sideways, it's the wave we are talking about, yeah. And you can draw it in a kind of sinusoid, sine wave, yeah. So this is the way imagining, because imagination is very important. So try to imagine as a circle or a sine wave. That will give you infinity. You come from infinity and you're going to infinity. There's no ending. People believe in ending. That's why they suicide themselves. They kill themselves automatically, yeah, over the years. But you are infinity. People live 200 years, 150 in the desert, in the rural areas. Yeah, you are not only 60 and 70. And your life start in your 60 and 70, your youth. In your 60 with wisdom, yeah.
Well, I can't wait then.
That's good. That's good. Everybody's happy.
Well, thank you so much for being such an amazing podcast guest.
Thank
I think
you very
I
much,
could
yeah.
sit and talk to you for years, I think, and learn so much from you, and definitely steal some of your style ideas as well. And if you think that Mohmed is stylish, your mother is even more of a style queen, isn't she? So she's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for talking through your journey with me today. I feel like we've got so much more to talk about, which we probably will over the podcast. But thank you so much for being so open and honest and sharing your uplifting and awakening story all about adaptation and evolution.
And thank you ever so much for giving me the chance your kind attention actually, to give me the chance to share some of my simple village experience through life and my way of understanding things. And I think my mother played a big role on that. I got all this from my mother. And I thank you and I thank my mother for letting me understand some of the some of the things that I talk about now. And it makes me shine, and of course it makes her shine, because she is the boss.
Absolutely, and what a place to finish, yeah? Thank
God
you
bless
so
you.
much, and
Thank
you very much for listening. I'll be back soon, so stay tuned for more podcast. I'm Coach Elaine.